folks, it's Rob from Rob's Movie Collection, and here's part 3 of my big ol' haul. Now, this part, for a guy whose channel is named Rob's Movie Collection, is not going to have any movies in it. Yeah, because you know what? Every once in a while I actually do read, and so I do have a book collection. So I've got a lot of books over the last couple of months too, so I thought I would show some of that off as well, a little something different. So a lot of these I got at, well, I've got all of these at used bookstores. Some of them at the library bookstore where I work. We did have a big sale there a couple months ago, and they usually have pretty good deals at the bookstore anyway. And then some are from some other used bookstores. So let's start with the big ones, and bear with me because I can't put these on a little easel, so some of them are too big for that. I got, let's see, Harry Potter. The Goblet of Fire, the big ones. I want to collect all these Harry Potter books. I really enjoy them, and I think J.K. Rowling's a pretty good writer. I'm not going to get into the whole controversy because I don't necessarily agree with the way they're treating her, but enough said there. So I got that one. Got Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban, and these are in pretty darn good condition, actually. You know, they're not bad. So whoever had these previously had taken good care of them. I also got Arthur C. Clarke's 2010 Odyssey 2. It's a good movie. The movie is with Roy Scheider, and I like the movie, so I thought I'd just get the book and see how it compares. I think there's even one or two more after that. Wizardborn, the book 3 of the Rune Lords by this guy named David Farland. And I love these older books because they've got these illustrations on them by these artists that used to do all these great illustrations, and those are pretty good. But that's one of those series, those Rune Lords ones. So there's a lot of those. John Steinbeck, Cannery Row. I like Steinbeck. He can be a little bit hard to read sometimes. He's pretty, you know, his chapters are pretty long, and you have to really pay attention to him. But of course, he's Steinbeck. And there's actually a movie called Cannery Row that came out in the 80s with Nick Nolte and I think Deborah Winger. So that'd be interesting. I think I might even have that somewhere. Let's see. So there is a series of books. There's an author that I really enjoy. His name is Piers Anthony. Some of you may know him. Sorry if my voice is dipping out here. But he wrote a bunch of series. One of them is his most well-known one is called the Xanth series. It's a fantasy, but kind of in a weird way. And there's, gosh, I think it's almost 30-some books on those. And he wrote another one called The Incarnations of Immortality, which I really enjoyed. But here's one that I've collected before, and I've actually collected these. I've already got this collection, actually, of these, but I thought I'd get them again. This is called The Bio of a Space Tyrant. Let's see. There. Pretty good book, kind of graphic at times, and a little bit raw. But it's very interesting. It's a 5-book series. That was number 1. Here's number 2. And in each one of them, you know, first he starts out as a refugee, then in this one he's a mercenary. And this one he's a statesman, and it kind of shows his rise to power. Oh, this is number 4, executive. So, but it's interesting because it shows him, you know, how the world perceives him, or the galaxy perceives him as a tyrant, but who he really was in real life, and not necessarily the same thing. But it's a good book now, and I already have copies of it, but it's so hard to find these older books, because if you go to the Barnes & Noble and you go to the sci-fi section, the fantasy section, it's just all George frickin' Martin. It's just all Game of Thrones. That's all it is. There's no variety or anything. So I figured I'm just going to collect as many of these as I can. And here he is again. This is what I was talking about, Piers Anthony. Harpy Time is one of his Xanth novels. So these are interesting too. There's a lot of those to read. Boy, if you read one of those and you like it, you got a lot to read there. Greg Bear Eon. I've seen this one for years at the bookstore. Not necessarily right now, but I saw it for years there, and I kind of was interested in finding out a little more about it, so I thought I'd pick it up. And here's M. McCaffrey, Dinosaur Planet. Some of you who are into this stuff may know her from the Dragon Rider of Pern novels, which I never really got into, but I thought I'd give her another try. She's known as the real Dragon Lady before she passed away. So she's a real one. That you think George Martin? Nah, George Martin doesn't know about dragons. This little series by Kim Stanley Robinson, which I always wanted to read. Green Mars, Blue Mars, and Red Mars. I guess it's about the colonization of Mars. And how it went in the different stages and stuff. So thought that would be interesting. One of my favorite authors of all time, and I've got a lot of her books, Agatha Christie, Death on the Nile. I do have Death on the Nile. There's certain authors that I just like keep buying editions of, like Tolkien is like that. I've got a whole shelf that's just a bunch of just Tolkien stuff repeated over and over again. And I really like Agatha Christie. I have some beautiful black books of her editions of her novels that maybe I'll show you guys sometimes if you're interested. Shout out if you're interested. But Death on the Nile is one of my favorites, and I know they made a new version of this recently, but I haven't really watched it yet. So, okay. Now, I am a big Louis L'Amour fan. That can't be, Robert. You don't seem like you're a Louis L'Amour fan. Well, yeah, I am a Louis L'Amour fan. I love his books. I like his writing a lot. I like the way he writes. He's mostly known for westerns, but he also does he has a lot of adventure type stories, especially his short stories, and I've liked them for years, and I've collected them for years. And excuse me. And in fact, he's also got the series of Brown books, editions, and they're actual leather or not, but probably not because I was able to buy them. But they're pretty good, and again, I'll show you those if you guys want. But in the meantime, I got these, and if you doubt that I'm a fan, well, hold on to your butts. Louis L'Amour, Valley of the Sun. Louis L'Amour, The Outlaws of Mesquite. That's a famous one there, up there. And let's go. The Shadow Riders. This was made into a movie one time. I like these little paperbacks, they're really easy to read. And these are the older editions of them. So you got these beautiful paintings on there. Some of them are yellow in a little bit, but whenever I come across them, I actually have to put these on a list or something because I'm starting to repeat myself. Heller with a Gun, that's a more recent edition, that you can tell by that, but it's still got the painting on there. Volume 4 of Louis L'Amour, The Adventure Story. So that's what I was talking about. These are his short stories. He writes really good short stories. They're very... There you go. Oh, there you go. That's where I got it from. Once Read Books. He writes really good short stories, and I've read a lot of those. And the adventure stories are pretty good, I guess he went out there and he did a lot of this stuff. He was one of those guys that really lived it. Over on the Dry Side. Check out that cover here. Guns of the Timberlands. Here's an older edition, The Lonely Men. Here's a more recent one, Chansey. I like the full cover ones. To Tame a Land. Well, some of these are Sackett novels. So he wrote a series of this family called Sackett, the Sacketts, that goes from like before the Revolutionary War and throughout the ages. The Man Called Noon. A lot of those Sackett movies were made into movies. I believe Tom Selleck was even in one of them, or a couple of them. Dark Canyon. This is an older edition, as you can see. You can tell because it's really yellow in too. The Empty Land. See, these are beautiful painted covers here. You don't see that anymore. Down the Long Hills. Oh, and I ended up getting 2 editions of Down the Long Hills. So, anyway, yeah, I like Louis L'Amour. I do. I like him. So I've got a lot of his books, a big shelf of his books. So anyway, that's a quick one for part 3. And I just wanted to show you guys something a little different. I do have a lot of books, and I've been meaning to do that, maybe show you more of my collection of books at some point. And we will do that in the future. So until then, keep reading those books. Let's not forget about reading when we get caught up in our movies. That there's still something to read out there. And we collectors have to collect and be the keepers of this sort of thing, because all the young kids are reading on their tablets and stuff, and to have an actual book that you can hold in your hands and smell the pages and go through it like that, well, that's, I think, something that I still value anyway. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Bye.